Hey everybody, welcome to Colorbar, Print Marketing with a Twist. It's Betsy Davis, and I'm joined by my girl Kim.
Hey everybody, how we doing?
We're
What are we
good.
talking about?
We're talking data with our boy, Phil Corbett.
Hey Phil.
What's
Hey,
up?
good to see you guys. Woohoo!
Great to see you.
So
to see
real
you
quick,
too.
I'm going to introduce you, and then we're going to get to some literal hot topics that are going on. Phil Corbett is joining us. He is VP of Strategic Partnerships for AMP Analytics. Wonderful partner for Sandy Alexander. We're going to talk data today. But Phil was just telling us that like there's wildfires or something. Something's happening. Yeah.
It's
Everybody
always something.
good?
It seems like it's always something happening in the upstate of South Carolina or Western North Carolina that we don't want to have happen. You know, we love drinking beers and stuff and
Amen to that.
cycling and
There you have it.
all kinds of things. But we've had we had Helene at the end of September that just like trashed everything, and then I come home to wildfires right near in the same area, like right on the border of South Carolina and North Carolina. This is the western part of South Carolina and North Carolina. And I mean, ash on the cars at Walmart. I mean, usually there's issues with cars at Walmart for other reasons, like
We were
meth or
talking.
whatever.
We were just talking pollen.
Phil, you just went there. Oh my God. Well, I hope you guys are safe and sound, and
Yes,
hearts
definitely.
out to everybody there in South Carolina. And so I'm going to pick on you too. What's this shirt you got going on here with a little
Oh, yeah, so
alligator?
check
Feels
this out.
very Florida where we are right now.
Yeah, well, I
Yes.
mean, so this is, I haven't seen or worn, not seen, but I haven't worn a Lacoste shirt since I was like 12 or something. You know, it's been
Back to the
nothing
mall.
against
We're
Lacoste.
animals.
Granule.
It's been a while, right? So my wife and my older daughter were in Europe last week visiting my younger daughter who's studying there this semester, and they were in Paris and they went shopping and they bought me a Lacoste shirt. So I mean, it's by the way, it is. I mean, it's a good color for me, don't you think?
I was about to say
First
your
of all-
eyes are popping right now.
Yes, you look
Yeah.
fantastic. You look
you.
fantastic on screen.
Yeah, and it's very comfy. I haven't washed it yet. Just put it on. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So
I
you go
mean,
Lacoste, make a comeback.
And we're not sponsoring Lacoste at all, but maybe we should.
should. I was
mean,
gonna
my
say.
goodness, this is
Oh.
quite the pitch for them.
We'll add them to our brand conversation.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, thanks for joining us again. Wasn't too long ago that you joined us for the big Glimpse event. You're one of our guest panelists talking hyper personalization.
That was awesome. That was so much fun. Thank you for that opportunity. Really, it's great meeting the other panelists too. They're brilliant, by the way. Holy cow!
So smart.
Really?
I felt like
Seriously.
the dumbest person on the sitting there for sure.
No. I had you beat. So don't
No,
worry.
no.
Don't worry
No, no,
about
no.
it, Betsy.
No, it's
I had to
right
look up
here.
hyper
Right here.
personalization before we did the event. So trust me, you got a leg up. It's all right.
That's hysterical.
That's seriously, it was fun. It was great. I actually learned a lot. I learned a lot too. I mean, I did. So.
Okay, so talk to me. What did you? I know I did. What do you feel like
Yes.
you learned from the event?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, Carrie's insights about just the consumer, because I'm not, I work with, printers and direct mailers, direct marketers like Sandy and agencies and stuff. I don't really, I occasionally will work with the end user too, the client, but I don't get the brand perspective that much, and I don't get the consumer perspective really at all. And she got that, she really kind of illuminated a lot of things there, especially I love the BS detector thing. It's so true.
So
Like,
good.
customers
Yes,
know
yes.
it.
Yes.
And then, with Alex and Ken, I mean, their knowledge of CDPs, CRM systems, and those platforms, like I don't have the insight really into all those. I mean, like you said, there's 14,000 different options,
Yeah.
which seems kind of insane to me.
That was actually
there's a lot of
like
software.
mind blowing. I mean, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, there were 14,000 softwares and also 14,000 acronyms. Like
Yeah.
Ken was just throwing stuff out there, and I'm like, I need to write these down and take them back home.
And understand what.
Yeah.
Look them up.
Yes.
Look them up.
Exactly.
Yeah, that reminds me of the we had a meeting beforehand, like one of the calls we had, and Ken said like RMN or something. It's like retail media networks. And I'm literally on chat retail media. I mean, I want to go on pause and say before I can say anything until I learn what that meant. I just had no idea. So yeah.
I still don't know what that means, but
I don't, and I definitely
again,
don't know what that
let
means.
me get my Sharpie here
Yeah.
and make a note. So speaking of feeling,
Next time, just
thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
We're prepared.
Speaking of feeling smarter, okay,
Yep.
Kim,
Uh-oh.
we have a genius in our midst.
We do.
Phil Corbett. Don't think I didn't do a little research on you.
Huh?
a finalist for the Association of National Advertisers Genius Awards.
Oh yeah,
Phil,
yeah. It was.
Phil.
what is
It
happening?
wasn't me individually. It was not me individually. No, no. Yeah, that was cool. That was such a cool thing. So IBM, IBM's got a lot of smart people, and I don't want to put a huge plug in for IBM, but I was blessed working with people there. Man, they were so smart and so much fun to work with. So one of the things I had an analytics team, a marketing analytics team, and we put in for an award for a few years. We did for 3 or 4 years. They did it after I left too, and of course, the year after I left, they won it, right? We were like runner-up or third place when I was there. Of course, the minute I leave, they win the thing. I'm like, okay, great,
As luck would have it.
The intelligence level lifted as soon as you left. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
We got closer to genius after Phil left us.
Yes, exactly.
I saw that when I was reading your bio. I'm like, I am so giving him grief about this, but I think it's very cool. Very cool. So talking about stuff that we learned at Glimpse, I learned something from you, something from the AMP team. You know this, the super variable.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. Okay, so tell the audience what's happening with the super variable.
Yeah, I mean, this goes to the creativity of our team. It goes to I didn't realize that data science had a lot of creativity involved, really. So super variables, they are data variables that are used in data modeling. So, but to take a step back, we actually just trademarked that term. So these are variables that make predictive models more predictive, right? It's data that AMP creates, net new data that hasn't existed before, that only we have, that we provide to companies that are doing data modeling factories, right? And we also use these super variables in our models too,
Okay.
We're going
right?
to come back to data modeling factories, just FYI, but keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I call them data models. I mean, there's some companies that just churn out models like crazy, and they're always looking for something new. Like this was mentioning when we were face to face at Glimpse. Like the data scientists, like they're looking for something new data to work with to get, some edge on the competition, and also to help their clients out because they're under the gun too. There's a lot of money being thrown at some of these industries, right? So just to kind of take a step back and see to kind of explain it a little bit better than I'm doing now. So when you're building a data model, essentially what they're doing is they're taking customer data. So they're going to customer and say, hey, Mr. Retail Customer, or whoever they are, give me information about your customers from the last year. So the name and addresses, and then what they do is they take that information. They have a file, like AMP has a file, and a database of all the people in the country, of all the households in the country, right? Or most of them, not all of them, but most of them. So what they do is they'll take that file and say, okay, we'll look at these customers, we'll find them in our file, and then we'll start layering on data. We know how old they are, all the demographics, how much money they make, all that kind of jazz, what their lifestyles are like, what their passions are, what their interests are, and just layer that onto these people, and then take that and then find people that look like them in our database.
Okay.
So it's like they call it lookalike modeling sometimes, right?
Yep.
So that's the basic premise. However, when you get a file, when they send us a file over, and this happens to any company doing data modeling, you only can use like maybe 85% of it because you're not going to match. First of all, we may not have every name on our file. It's not perfect. You have 350 million people in the country. I don't know, a lot of people. So it may not be a perfect match. There may be something missing, like a last name or something, or there might not be good data. Sometimes it's kind of messy.
Yep.
So you can't use the whole data set most of the time, right? That's a problem. So I'll come back to that in a second. The other thing is when they do with the data modeling, we're basically using different variables in the data model. So we have a tool called micro modeling. I know there's a lot of modeling going on here, but follow me for a second. Micro modeling is a tool.
Like really tiny people walking the runway, or is that something different?
People.
Micro modeling.
Micro modeling.
What is micro modeling?
It really is getting to that. Yeah. It's getting down to that granular level. Yeah, it's fun. But essentially what micro modeling does is it can use hundreds and thousands of variables, to find the right person to market to. It's a tool that can churn out models, and we iterate with it. I think we're on like the 50th different version of it, but it's our secret sauce too. It's how we come up with those names that you want to market to.
So
right?
this is
That's
what people are
essentially what it
using
does.
for acquisition campaigns
Right.
primarily.
Perfect. That's
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Primarily. Yeah. Exactly right. So when we
We want
so
more
we use this
people
tool,
that
we get
look
these
like
names,
our consumers.
but
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah. It's just you're I don't know. Let's pick a name. I don't know. You're selling windows or something. Um, something that it's a highly competitive market. So that like I said before, in this this is home services is a good example because you have to have a house and things, right? You can't just you don't want to be selling windows to someone who's renting an apartment,
Right.
right? So anyway, going back to the modeling component, basically data scientists are they're facing they always face challenges. Like they're using the same kind of variables every time. So what we did was we created a data set, these super variables, that automatically, like almost immediately, will give them a more predictive model. Okay, so picture this. So a super variable is something is pretty simple. It's two different variables that you can use in a model. By themselves, they're okay, but together they're much more powerful. So for example, like population per square mile. Okay, so population density.
Okay.
And the other would be, say, home ownership, right?
Okay.
So the population density within a square mile of South Orlando versus now just what percentage of people in South Orlando, or where you are, I guess, right now, owns homes. Two separate things, kind of interesting. They may be low predictive on a scale of all the variables you use. They might be they might work, may not work. You put them together, okay? You're creating a mathematical equation called an algorithm. It literally is an algorithm, all right? And what makes that special, the algorithm special, is that it's a weighted value. So one of those two variables is going to be really weighted heavy, and the other one won't. And that's part of our secret sauce. So now you have this incredible like God particle, the Higgs boson kind of thing from data modeling. Okay.
Let's go. Yeah, I like
it. Right. And I'm really exaggerating that because it's not the God particle. I mean, it's not like creating something from. It's not creating something from nothing. We use something to create a new thing.
Yes.
Right. This new thing that would when it's used in our modeling or when it's used in other models can be very, very predictive. That's so. And the other thing is, this is secondary, but it's also kind of cool. Remember I said that only 85% of the data can be used really for modeling. 100% can be used because it's spatial in nature. So what I mean by that is we don't need to have the name. We just need to know an address or a zip code or something along those lines, because what we'll say is, okay, going back to that other example, we're looking at, say, South Orlando. We don't need to know it's you that's Kim living in an area of Orlando. What we need to do is we know the area that she's living in. So is that an up and coming area, right? Are the home values going up or down? Right?
Probably
is it
going
growing
down if
from
I
the
live there.
Yeah. So we did.
Oh God, she's moving in with all those dogs.
Oh yeah, how many dogs do you have?
5.
You have 5 dogs. Wow. I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Cheers to dogs.
Cheers,
Speaking of,
cheers to dogs.
Cheers to dogs. So all that's to say is these variables are very powerful and predictive in nature. They can be used. They allow us to use entire data sets. It's a cool thing from a data science perspective. I'm probably killing it right now. I'm probably killing the buzz, but they're very. By the way, they're profitable for our partners. That's the other thing. We are a revenue stream for the likes of Sandy Alexander, for other printers. We're the data science team, and so data is got a lot of high margins in data. You can make a lot of money with data. You really can. So I don't know what the margins are like in print.
I was going to ask you about that. One, I appreciate you making Kim and I smarter just now.
Yes.
Like all the things were happening just now, but I love it, and I know that we've tapped into AMP a handful of times, but for the printers that are watching, and I'm sure there probably will be, so what's up to all of our fellow printers out there?
All of our ink on paper peeps.
All of our ink on paper peeps. How is AMP helping us? Like you talked about giving us opportunities for revenue streams, but what is it that you guys are providing that we're then, I'm assuming, providing back to our brands and clients that we're working with?
Sure. I mean, it's a great question. So yeah, a few things just for starters. First of all, you can be more successful with your campaigns. So in the end, you can be selling more print, right? So you can be much more targeted with whom you're mailing to, because you know about the postal, and I tell you about postal rates and everything else and how expensive it can get. You don't want waste.
Right.
There's a lot of wasteful mail. So we eliminate the waste. You get right down to the precision, the targeting, the accuracy of that campaign, and the better and more accurate and more returning you get from a campaign through direct mail. You can get more. You can get more gigs from that. You're not gonna get more gigs if you're wasting, if you're wasting money, if you're mailing and it's not successful. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we have strategic conversations. Think about what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
It's like data and analytics. I got to throw analytics in. Analytics is a really key component of it. They're a strategic conversation, right? So when I talk to salespeople, because I'm a sales guy. Like, by the way, I got a D in stats in college. I mean, I did.
Phil's making me feel better. Making me feel better, Phil.
I should never have been in that class. I should have never been to college. That's a
whole nother conversation.
It's a whole other conversation. That made some wrong turns in my life. But there are strategic conversations to be had, right, around data. So that's one thing. I'm really at the core of it. Like when I say analytics, I mean really all it is. If I have to oversimplify, not overgeneralize. Analytics. When I hear it and you hear analytics with AI, then you really kind of freak out. I do. Analytics is really just at its core. It's about asking the right questions.
Yeah.
That's what I tell the people I work with. All you gotta do is ask the right questions. What are you trying to get accomplished? What's the most important thing? Here's a big word I didn't even know. I mean, not that again, I got a D in stats, but what's the dependent variable? So the dependent variables. Yeah, you hear Kim?
Come on, keep
hang
going.
in there.
Keep going. All right.
Tell us more.
So basically, I would never recommend saying to a CMO or someone, hey, what's the dependent variable? They'd be like, what are you talking? No, basically,
You just said it to a CMO, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I won't take
it's
offense.
what you want. It's what you want to do. It's dependent variables. What the outcome you want. Do you want higher response rates? Do you want more conversion rates? Like I do the golf analogy, right? The golf analogy is like, the dependent variables your score in a hole, right? The independent variables, the things that can affect that score, is your golf swing, it's the weather, it's the wind, it's the club, all the kind. So what is it you want to accomplish? And yes, that one question, then you have an answer that's open-ended, and that will last. You can ask more and more questions, and all of a sudden now you're a consultant, right? Consultative conversation. And then print is not a byproduct. Print is very important, don't get me wrong, but you need to have this upfront conversations first, I think. So that's
you brought up a topic that comes up all the time around the postage cost, and people are finding that direct mail is working. Like it's working, and people are engaging with it, and they're responding to it, especially when you're combining it with digital. But the postage is scary. Like that's just a huge component of the budget. And so to your point about just finding the right data, the right people, being very strategic to your point about how we're approaching.
Yeah, like who are we targeting and where do we want to spend?
Right. Right.
Because
we want to spend it on who's going to spend.
Right. So the smarter we are upstream, so to speak, helps, drive that.
Absolutely.
We helped the printer. It's just not too long ago. I was going to give you one small example. It's a very, very small example. We helped one printer in Charlotte win some business with a lender, and all we did was we looked at their prior campaigns, right? Who they mailed, and like who responded, or who actually responded and became a customer, and we looked at this for over 2 years, and found that there were 10% of the zips that they were mailing into didn't have one response. 10%. I mean, there was a lot of volume.
That's a big number.
And they kept mailing it over and over and over again. They're like, what are you doing? So just by that alone, they're like, oh, okay, now tell me more,
Right. We actually, it's interesting, for some reason, we had a conversation yesterday about, we were having a sales meeting, and they were talking about looking at the database of your customers, and you think you know who your customer is, but whenever you run it through AI or you have somebody like yourself do some analytics around it, you're probably going to be really surprised to see that who you think your ideal customer is
may not be.
Could be very, very different. So I think it's something that all of us can learn from, is to use companies like yourself to really kind of do the hard digging for us and help us tell that story. So
Can I give you a CMO story? I'm actually. I want to ask you if you find this valuable. And I know you'd be honest. You'll always be honest. But
No, this is the BS. I'm going to give you the BS factor. You can call BS
Yeah,
on
yeah,
me
give
if
you
you
BS
want.
That's right, the
first.
BS factor.
So part of this whole exercise of modeling, we provide a report. It's like a 50-page report. So my view a little long, but it's a 50-page report. But part of it is like these are your customers. It's like a customer profile, right? So how old they are, how much money they have, all that kind of thing, and so it's pretty extensive. So and that's information. It's information it's nice to know for sure. Because to your point, a lot of customers, a lot of companies don't really know their customers. As a matter of fact, I was in the airport yesterday. A good agency that we work with, they hire us to create a customer profile to do pitches, right? So they get the
that's
data from their
interesting.
from their
Okay.
prospective client.
Yep.
We do a customer profile. They put it in their pitch as well, so it shows that they have the data, and they do a lot, right? So, but the CMO piece of it, that was like a side story. I don't know why I told you that, but it's true. Like they do that.
That was an
I'm kind
interesting
of
side
rambling
story,
now.
though. I mean,
I'll
that's
rein it in.
It's super
I'll rein it
interesting.
in. But that's as far as we go, right? We have this customer profile, and we compare those customers to the whole marketing universe of the marketing footprint that we're looking at. So it might be 8-mile radius around a Best Buy store or something, right? We always have to have a market. We have to have a limit to what we're looking at, right? So we provide that for them. What I did, I took this information, I took the report, and I uploaded it to chat. I said, chat, and I had to go back and forth a little bit, create personas for me. Because let me tell you, when I was at IBM, my last job, my clients were the CMOs. I had 15 CMOs for each of the business units, right? And you're the nicest CMO, Betsy, I gotta tell you. I mean, IBM,
Thank you.
they crush you. Honestly, I'm not gonna say all of them are bad and terrible. They're not. They're good people, but man, they're tough. Anyway, but they love personas because it just helps them understand the customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take the customer profile, I upload it and say, okay, tell me who these people are, and put it into like a persona. Like, okay, this is, your high-tech customer. His name is Daryl, right? He's got a brother named Daryl. That guy.
And his other brother, Daryl.
He's got a brother named Daryl.
Some people watching this may not get that joke, but we get it. Yeah.
And you might like hunting and fishing and B&Bs in Vermont. You might like that kind of thing. So, but the personas, I provide that to the salesperson because I'm not going to take the, whatever. I'll just give it to the salesperson to give to their CMO that they're talking to have that strategic conversation. And I've done it a few times and it's worked pretty well, I think. So.
No, that's interesting. Again, I'll talk about the sales meeting we just had, and the team was asking about knowing who the right person is to pursue. How do we know who the right person is? And in my mind, I kind of said what I just said, like, well, we know who it is that we're calling on, but do we? I don't know. Like, it's probably a really interesting exercise for us to do just from a B2B selling perspective. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have to, so you use the golf analogy. And Phil, I'm going to go here. So Phil, I feel like Phil is the analogy guy. Lasagna.
Oh.
Lasagna. Okay, let's just stop talking data for a second and let me soak it all in.
Yeah.
Tell us your lasagna story.
Oh yeah. So, oh man, I really hope you guys will try it too.
It's sitting in my inbox, and I'm gonna try it whenever I get home.
Okay. I had to give attribution to Mr. Make It Happen on YouTube. Yeah. So it's not. I've tried. Like the point is, I've made lasagna. It's kind of like this is the way I wooed my wife because I had no other way of doing it. It was, cooking for her. And it was terrible, but it was endearing. It was just really bad. I made
I love when a man
I made
cooks.
Martha
Yeah.
Stewart. No, yeah. I mean, I enjoy it too, and you can, it's a social thing, and you can drink while you're doing it, whatever. But I made a crusty mustard chicken back in 1990 something, or 93 or whatever it was, and it was a Martha Stewart crusty mustard chicken. I'll get to lasagna in a second. The crusty mustard chicken, the actual crusty mustard part of it fell off. I couldn't make it stick.
Okay, I have to interrupt you really quick. I haven't talked about mustard chicken in so long. I don't know if this is a Southern dish or not, but my grandmother used to make it all the time. It was like every Sunday family dinner, after church or whatever. Like there was mustard chicken all the time. Yeah. So anyway,
Awesome.
you took me
awesome
back.
stuff.
You took me back for a minute.
Yeah. Well, it was a big fail. I tried. It was a big fail. Same thing with my lasagnas. Have been kind of mediocre, just serviceable. I'll call them. All right. The kids
You
will
can
eat
eat
it
it.
occasionally, and it wasn't great. But then I came across. I'm like, oh, I'll try anything. I've tried all kinds of different things, crazy things. I would make a sauce or gravy. You see, I don't know if that's the other thing. Do you call it a sauce or a gravy?
Well, what are you talking about?
If
For
it's
pasta?
if it's pasta, it's a
Yeah,
sauce. But some people call it
sauce.
Italian gravy.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes, some
yeah.
people
I
do.
call gravy what I put on my biscuits.
There you
You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Or some mashed potatoes. Sauce on pasta.
We're sauce.
I
We're
bet you
sauce
the-
people.
Yes.
I bet you there are a number of families very close to around Clifton, New Jersey, that use the term gravy and not sauce. They'll never use the word sauce.
All right, I'm going to have to ask
Anyway.
this when I go back to the home office.
Yeah. So I've tried all kinds of ways of making the sauce, and I've actually put like potatoes in the sauce to extract some of the acidity and all that. I've tried everything. It's all chemistry, Alton Brown nonsense. Alton Brown, that guy's nuts. Well, the chemistry and everything. Anyway, so I found this recipe on YouTube, and it uses Boursin cheese because ricotta cheese is boring, so it pops the ricotta cheese, beef bouillon, which I never thought of, just the actual powder.
Yep, like the little
Of
cubes.
beef bouillon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you break them up. Just break them up and drink. So anyway, I tried that, man. It was awesome, and I've done it like 3 times since. And I have, I try not to. I want to be behind like like a glass partition or something, like a servant, to watch people eat this thing because it's so good. It is so good.
You want a focus group around your lasagna?
I want a focus group on my
A
lasagna.
lasagna. Well, we all have the recipe, so
We all now have the recipe.
we all have the recipe. So
Mr. Make It Happen, yeah.
So Phil, here's what's
He's
going
got
to happen.
Oh, by
We're
the way,
gonna-
you can use Boursin cheese and meatloaf too.
Yeah, I'm not a meatloaf person. Mom, meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a Mom, meatloaf.
meatloaf.
I
Meatloaf.
am not a meatloaf person, but I will promise you this: when I have a chance to make the lasagna, or when my boyfriend has a chance to make the lasagna for me, I will send you a little snap. I will send you a little video, thumbs up, thumbs down moment of the lasagna.
All
I have
right,
a
yeah,
feeling it's going
please
to be
do.
a
I
thumbs up.
really want to know. I want to know. Good, bad, or indifferent. I want to know. Seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's go back to data for a second. Again, just reading up on AMP over the last few weeks as we've started to engage more, we hear a lot from our customers about attribution. So again, going back to direct mail, the cost of that, all the CEOs, all the CMOs are like, well, sounds great, but it costs too much. How do we know that it works?
Ugh, I hate to do that.
And I might be totally off the mark here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I read about your product, Ultra Match.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the intention of this solution that you guys offer, is to better understand that? Talk to me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so first of all, direct mail gets a bum rap. I mean, it gets a bum rap because think about it. You get a piece in the mail. It can sit around. It's like it's very tactile. Obviously, it can, but not everyone's gonna hit that QR code or call that 800 number. They may just go right to the website. They don't exactly act on the mail piece necessarily. I mean, they act on it, but they do it digitally, right?
Yep.
So what UltraMatch is, it's a match. They call it a match back, but we have a matching logic that basically all it does is says, okay, who do we mail, and then give me your transactions or the file of all the transactions that happened over this same time period when it was in market. We match them.
Yep.
And we match them using it's an algorithm. I know this word thrown around a lot, but it's basically it's an 18-step algorithm that says, okay, we want to match Betsy Davis getting this mail piece to buying, the
What did Betsy
BMW to
Davis
his one
buy?
of the buyers, so whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Right. But you can be, first of all, you could have gone to the website. You could have gone right to the dealership. You didn't have to use that mail piece necessarily, the QR code. There's no direct line of anything here, And by the way, you could be, and I don't know, it could be B Davis, it could be Elizabeth Davis, it could be, B.A. Davis. I mean, so that matching logic looks and says, okay, we know it's Betsy, but she put her name down as Betsy. She put it down as her initials and Davis. But we can match her back to this particular address. And by the way, she used the website, but she did get the mail piece at the same time. So the mail piece has to get attribution for that. It's not a nothing burger. It actually drove her to the website, and she didn't have to use her name the way we mailed it to her, but that is her.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and when we do those matchbacks, we get, at least 30% I mean, more attribution. So, I mean, I would say to every printer out there, every direct mail company, if it's not AMP, whatever, you have to save. You have to ask for the transaction files from your customers. You
That's
have
part
to
of the validation
up front.
of what you're doing, right?
Right.
I mean, when
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah,
able to
before you-
match it back, because you're still buying something, and I'm sure somebody has tested something where it's like, okay, well, we didn't. Is there instances where it's like, well, we didn't send her a direct mail piece. She only got a digital campaign. She didn't buy anything. Okay, so we put direct mail in with the digital campaign, and then all of a sudden, even though she may have shopped online, Betsy went and bought something.
Yep.
It works.
To
I mean, there's data
validate
behind this. Digital and print work together great. There's so much
Yeah.
data behind this. You don't have to take my word. It's yeah. And I would say, I don't want to sound too preachy, but if you're a salesperson out there and if you're selling print, I mean, my recommendation to everyone. I mean, I know people have been doing this for years. I've never sold print. I haven't been in the business that long. But my recommendation is set the expectation up front that when you're doing a campaign, you want to prove out that this thing worked or did not work. Fair enough. But give me the transaction file at the end of this campaign so we can at least see how it worked.
How open have you seen
People
the
be for
end
that?
client
Yeah.
be to give the transaction file?
Until almost never happened.
I'm
People,
trying.
give us your transaction
Truth be
file and we
told,
can prove to you
it's
that
not
this works.
easy.
I'm trying to
It's
make
not
you
easy.
better. Help me, help
Help
you,
me,
help you.
Thank you, Jerry
Help me,
McGuire.
help you.
You're
That's
welcome.
right. Help me, help you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard. It really is difficult. I'm not saying I didn't say it was easy.
Yeah.
You have
Here's-
to do it.
here-
I mean, you really should do it though.
Yeah.
You
Here's
know?
another one that I have a question for you on. It feels like it was kind of a hot topic a couple of years ago. Retargeting. So retargeting from website activity, the whole abandoned cart conversation. Now we're
Yeah.
retargeting them with direct mail, or we're retargeting. I mean, I get it all the time. You left this in your cart, come back and get it, but I'm getting that digitally. What are you guys seeing? Is it still something that people are exploring? Something we need to be talking about? Is it working?
It's bigger. It's bigger now than probably ever. No,
Okay.
Yeah, this is okay. I gotta rein myself in here because this could go down a ditch pretty quickly. So you gotta rein me in a little
Okay.
bit. All right.
Okay.
So because it's gotten very sophisticated. So let's take like probably one of the more common examples. You go to a website. You're anonymous, right? You abandon the cart or whatever. Well, and I think the number's up to like 60%. There's technology it's identity resolution technology essentially. What it does is it de-anonymizes the website visitor.
Say that one
Like,
more
we didn't-
time for us.
It de-anonymizes. So it basically says you're going to a website. You go to Wayfair, right? And you don't you don't buy the towels or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. Usually, actually, that's a bad example. Like, usually when you do this kind of retargeting, it's usually a higher ticket item. So you go to a website trying to buy something and you don't buy it, right? Well, they don't know who you are. So if you wanted to send like a postcard to them the next day and say, hey, come on back, we'll give you a 10% discount, how do you do that? How does the tech work? Well, it's an identity resolution or identity graph can de-anonymize. It can take that anonymous visitor and find out who they are.
Got it. Now I get it.
Get their name, get their address, and mail to them.
Is that through like
So-
the cookies or the URL thing?
Through
No,
cookies.
I can tell you how it works.
How do they do that?
So they do that this is a great question, Kim. And by the way, this is, I had to learn all this stuff. It's crazy technology. They put a pixel, little piece of code on the website.
Okay.
Okay. And in that code, there are instructions because if someone goes to your website and they hit the careers button or something, or they're looking at investor relations or whatever, you don't want to target them. It basically has business logic that says if they do this, then send them a piece.
Okay.
Right. So they have to go to a certain product page or whatever it is, whatever you determine it is. And let's say they bail. You can't get every single one of them, but you can get a lot of them and you can mail them. And by the way, once you de-anonymize these people, you have their name and address, you don't have to mail them. I mean, you can hit them up with email, right? You can hit them up with a display ad, or you can use it in a model going down the line or whatever. There are different ways you can use it, but the
But
mail
you
thing
now
is
know who they
awesome
are.
because you can turn around like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. But yeah, right. So, but you at least now know who they are and can target or market to them
Yep.
going forward.
Yep.
Yeah, retargeting is really targeting. You know what else is kind of cool? Can I give you one other
Yeah, of course.
kind of
Please.
example? So it's called Conquest marketing. So basically, you can see if somebody. There's two examples of this. You can see if someone goes to, in most cases, you can see if someone goes to your competitor's website, and then send them a mail piece.
Wow.
That's a little more complicated. That's possible. And then you've heard geofencing, right?
Yep.
So check this out. This is kind of more of a this reminds me of Tulsa King, Betsy. This totally reminds me of
Oh my
Tulsa
God,
King.
he brings up Tulsa King, which
All the time.
I told you, I'm finally a convert, but I was I was.
I have no idea what it is.
So Tulsa King is a Sylvester Stallone.
All right,
show.
I'm on it, Phil.
Yeah,
Give me a minute. What are we talking about here?
It's set in
Great.
Tulsa.
Okay.
Set in Tulsa, but it basically shows like two like distinctive areas of Tulsa.
Okay.
And the rest of it has nothing to do like with Tulsa. It's probably how people feel about Yellowstone or anything else. It's like, oh, the stereotypical Tulsa people. So I was kind of offended. I was kind of offended, but I have found a love for it. You and I we've already talked the finale and the whole nine yards. So
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's one of the new
I didn't
streaming
know if
shows.
I didn't think about how it portrayed Tulsa. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's a good point. The same thing with the. I used to live in northern New Jersey. Same thing with Sopranos, right? You know.
Yes.
Same exact thing.
Well, I never saw an episode of that either. So.
Kim, you need to sit down and have a Netflix and chill day. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll oh man, especially the Sopranos. Anyway, but with the reason why I brought up Tulsa King is because he has a cannabis shop, right?
Yes.
Bodie, whatever his name is, has a cannabis shop. Well, in this particular case, the one I'm about to tell you, it's taken me, I know, a year to tee this one up. Sorry, but so there's a cannabis dispensary out west, and he has a competitor. It's literally like it's kind of like CVS and Walgreens across the street, same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's geofenced. He geofenced his competitor's store. So he knows, because when people have their phone and have certain apps that are on, he can identify who walks in and out of that store, and then identifies who they are and sends them an offer to come to his store.
I don't know that I've ever heard anybody approach it that way. I love that.
I love that too. Yeah.
So can we use a little
geofencing?
Not geofencing, but the whole knowing who's going to competitors' website. I don't want to give away the secret sauce that I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah, but Conquest marketing. Yeah, absolutely.
Conquest marketing. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna get 100% match. Let me set this thing. You'll get a certain percentage of who's going, to your competitors' websites. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. I'm gonna go personal again.
That's really amazing.
I know.
We might have to go back to the creep factor from our conversation
Yeah.
at Glimpse.
Yeah,
You
there's
just
that.
took the words right out of my mouth, the creep factor. But you know what? I mean,
it's fascinating, though. It's fascinating creep.
It is fascinating creep. And we talked about this at Glimpse.
Yeah.
We all are kind of expecting it as consumers. I mean, I don't know. We expect people to kind of know what we're up to at this point. And it usually works.
Well, that was part of the brand conversation, that Carrie even brought up, where it was like, but consumers are sophisticated, and they do want you to know them, and they do want you to delight them. And I think she was kind of like, and market to them the way you would want to be marketed to. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely, I think, a way that you can do that drives the traffic and drives the ROI and things of that nature, because we are expecting it on a certain level.
Yeah.
I think it's just how you execute it.
Yeah. One of the things I said this during Glimpse that I loved about Carrie was just her vernacular, like the way that she described things. But one of the things I loved, and she said it a couple of times, was being humble about it and having a humble approach. I don't know, something about that just really resonated with me. So Phil, we're getting close to time, but we can't have dog people sitting around. Also in your bio, you talk about June.
Yeah.
Is June with you? Can we talk to June?
Can I carry her?
Of course.
Of course.
She's really. All right, let me set this up real quick. She's a rescue. We've had her for maybe 11 years now, 12 years. Part Dachshund, we think. Part Dachshund, part Beagle-ish. Her name is June because this happens down here too. I mean, her and her brother were Johnny and June, named after Johnny Cash and June Cash.
Oh my goodness.
Aww.
They were found. They were found on the side of the road somewhere in North Carolina, and a woman that rescues, abandon dogs. It happens here in South Carolina a lot. They abandon their dogs. I mean, not they. I don't want to, tell the whole state's bad with dogs,
Right.
but it happens. I'm sorry, it does.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. I mean, So anyway, we got her. So I never had a pet before. This is my first pet. I'm 56. My first pet in my life. I know it's terrible. I know.
It's a life changer.
So, life changing.
It is life changing.
Dogs are better than people, man. I'm sorry. They just are. I got back from that trip. I got back from Orlando, and the dog is wailing. Where were you? Like crying.
Oh.
No one. My kids could care less if I'm here or there.
Were you gone?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. Where's you got $20? No, but so I feed her sometimes. I know, and Kim, you're probably gonna kill me for this, but I feed her human food from time to time.
No,
maybe more than I should.
Maybe more than you should. Nah.
But she's very fat though. She's very not fat, plump, overweight.
Is she
stout.
listening right now? Cover her ears. Earmuffs,
yes,
June.
Yes, earmuffs.
Can you see?
Where is she? June.
June.
Oh my God. She's taking. There she is.
Hi, baby.
Oh my goodness. And she's even got her little dog blanket
See
on
how plump she is? She's kind of plump right there. She fits in between the cushions.
She's
just got a little.
She's got a little nest there.
She's got a little something to love.
She does.
She does.
She looks very comfortable.
I love that.
Yeah. So how about you? So you guys got dogs? You got 5 dogs, Kim?
I have 5 dogs. Yes. I know there's really not much to say about that. It is a little bit of a shocker. So yes, I have 5 Airedale Terriers.
Oh, I got to write that down. Airedale Terriers.
Airedale Terriers, yes.
They're so fun.
They are, yes. So.
Yeah, and we talk about being in this life of Zoom like we're doing right now, and never felt like I love like Fleetwood and Prairie, and by the way, the names of her dogs are phenomenal. But we even made a email address for Fleetwood, one of her dogs. So Fleetwood@sandyalexander.com. Feel free to email Fleetwood. But they're always a part of our Zooms.
Yes. Yes. So we have Hudson, Irwit, Fleetwood, Prairie, and Daisy.
Oh.
So fun.
What was the second one? Irwit?
Irwit. So
how do you spell that?
Ewritt. He's named after Elliot Irwit, who's a photographer, and he did a lot of street photography, like 30s, 40s, 50s. He actually just passed away, I think, last year at like 100 or something like that.
Jeez.
But so I'm a big photography person and a big, obviously, dog photography person. So Irwit, that's where Irwit got his name.
Cool, very cool. Hey, just a quick question. It's totally non sequitur here, but you talk about photography, 40s, 50s, whatever. Do you ever see Edward Hopper, the painter?
Uh-huh.
I'm totally got into him lately. He's done a lot of that kind of stuff, like, painting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his work is very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, listen, Phil, I don't know, but I don't know if I feel smarter or like I need to
study up.
I need to study up.
I need to study up.
Yeah, I need to study up. But what I also know for sure is that I'm super excited to continue our relationship with AMP.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To let you impact our business, to let you impact our customers' business. AmpAnalytics.com to come and visit you.
AmpAnalytic, the singular.
Singular.
Yeah, I know it's
Got it.
Yeah,
all right,
it is.
good clarification on that.
Yeah.
AmpAnalytic.com. I hope we get to see you really, really soon. Come
Me
back and
too.
see us on Colorbar.
Yes. We would love to have you back on Colorbar.
Yeah.
Oh, man, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Seriously.
And we will keep you posted on the lasagna.
Yes.
All right.
We have lasagna in the
Before we
works.
leave,
Lasagna.
cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers,
All right.
Phil.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.
Bye.
See
Thank
ya.
you.